Well, this is surprising. Maybe. Hello, welcome back to Behind the Wall. So, essentially, for those of you who don't know that Lowe's has even been a sponsor of NASCAR, where have you been? But they didn't start out as a sponsor for Jimmy Johnson. No. They started out as a sponsor for Brett Bodine at some point in the 90s, and then Mike Skinner for RCR. The partnership was decent, but they never really did anything spectacular. Then, one day, a rookie by the name of Jimmy Johnson, who was performing very miserably in the Xfinity Series with only one win and a very big crash into the foam barrier at Watkins Glen, was taken into the Cup Series by Jeff Gordon. Lowe's left RCR. They went on to sponsor Jimmy Johnson, and they have stuck with Jimmy sponsoring every single race since he joined the Cup Series in 2001. No, I'm not even kidding. 2001. Those three starts that Jimmy made, Lowe's was sponsored by him. Or Lowe's sponsored him, however you prefer saying it. And they've stuck with Jimmy for years. From the near wins to the championships to the penalties to the bad seasons. They've stuck with Jimmy. And they have probably been one of the most iconic pairings in NASCAR, period. I mean, their status has probably achieved the same status as STP with Richard Petty, or Goodwrench and Wrangler with Dale Sr., or Budweiser with Dale Jr. Oh, wait, never mind. Budweiser left Jr. after a while, didn't they? But anyway. And DeWalt with Matt Kansas, stuff like that. DuPont with Jeff Gordon. I mean, the list could just go on and on about sponsors that have become synonymous with drivers. M&M's with Kyle Busch. But, yeah, Johnson has gotten off to a bit of a rocky start as of right now for 2018. I mean, he's improving. He's just barely inside the top 28 points, but he's improving. But Lowe's has now decided to pull their sponsorship. And sponsors leave eventually. I mean, Wrangler left Dale Sr. eventually. STP wasn't with Richard Petty his entire career. He was unsponsored for, the good portion of his early career until STP came on. Well, then again, not many guys were sponsored in the early days of NASCAR, but yeah, Lowe's has decided to pull its sponsorship from Jimmy. They'll leave at the end of this year. They're leaving from Hendrick. They didn't say they'd be leaving from NASCAR, but they said that they'd be leaving from Hendrick. And, I mean, considering that Cobalt only got one race on the car last year, and Pro Services hasn't even been on the car except for the fact that I think Lowe's for Pros is essentially Lowe's Pro Services now. And we haven't really seen a lot of Lowe's Red Vest, which I really enjoy those paint schemes. I think it was honestly pretty soon that Lowe's was going to bail. Or, well, not bail, but leave. And, yeah, that time has come. So, what does this mean for Jimmy Johnson? Get a sponsor, or you're out of the Cup Series, essentially. I mean, it's essentially been shown in the past few years that unless you have a good sponsor, you're basically screwed out of a ride. I mean, that happened with Brennan Poole, Landon Castle, Matt Kenseth. Well, I mean, not really Matt Kenseth and Castle, but Poole is out of a ride now, and a ton of other promising young drivers are going to be moving up just because they have sponsorship. Brandon Jones. And, I mean, let's face it, Jimmy's one of the oldest guys, if not the oldest guy in the field right now. And he's not going to get any younger. So, unless he can find a decent sponsorship until his contract runs out in 2020, he's probably going to be out of a ride at the end of this year, which really sucks. But then again, I don't think Hendrick will want to give up Jimmy that easily because of the amazing partnership they've had over the past 2 decades, essentially now. But, I mean, Tyler Reddick and JR Motorsports, they have a ton of guys that they could just move up to the Cup Series. Although 3 of them probably are just going to stay in the Xfinity Series like a bunch of idiots and stay there just to hog the rides because they know they aren't competitive in the Cup Series. Seriously, why don't Sadler, Allgaier, and Annette move up to the Cup Series? They're perfectly capable of it if they get good rides. Well, Annette maybe not, but Allgaier and Sadler for sure. But, yeah, unless Jimmy gets a good sponsorship, he's probably going to be replaced by a guy like Brennan Poole or Tyler Reddick. But NASCAR does have a few sponsor options, and so does Hendrick, that they could just give to Jimmy. Well, for starters, let's look at the sponsors that Hendrick has. They have, I don't think, I mean, let's face it, Exalta isn't going to want to sponsor 3 different cars. Because, seriously, why are they still sponsoring Bowman? They don't need to. They just need to sponsor Byron and get it over with. Mountain Dew, I could potentially see them going up. Valvoline, it would be nice to see Valvoline on the 48. Maybe Cobalt could go full-time on the 48 car, although it'd be really weird to see it without Lowe's. I could see maybe Quaker State going on full-time if, they ever come back. Seriously, where did Quaker State go? But my boy NASCAR Racing Fan 2015, he did say that, Hendrick was looking for, let me see, where is it? Hendrick was looking for either a healthcare provider or a wireless company. So that does mean that either AT&T, Metro PCS, Sprint if they decide to come back to NASCAR eventually, or, a healthcare provider, like, I don't know, CVS Pharmacy, maybe? Or Walgreens? Can you imagine the CVS Pharmacy car? I mean, Walgreens, I can kind of see them going on, but, I mean, unless they get a good sponsor like that, or, an entirely new sponsor, like, that Blue Shield thing, like what is it, Blue Shield? Is it Blue Sky? Blue Shield? Blue Sky? I don't know. I mean, unless they're the most probable candidate as of right now, but I really am struggling to see them coming on. Because for one, they're Jimmy's personal sponsorship. They've been with him for forever, essentially. And, I mean, if they come on, I might see the Jimmy Johnson Foundation coming on for a few races, but they're not going to go full time. So that's probably going to leave him still short on sponsorship, though. So, I mean, yeah, this really is just the end of an era. With Lowe's leaving NASCAR, they didn't say they were leaving NASCAR. They said that they were just leaving Hendrick. They might go to another team. But, I mean, now that Lowe's is leaving, I mean, essentially, yeah, Jimmy's end is coming. So, I mean, I really don't know what else to say. Hopefully Jimmy gets to retire on his own terms. Enjoy this montage of some of the classic 48 paint schemes. This is Race Station 48, signing off this episode of Behind the Wall.